Mute the mic even though they'll hear us talking right now. Player 1.
Which is player 1?
Player 1 will be Frankie. I don't know what he's on.
Miracles.
Okay, thank you. Save? Just save it. Control S. Yeah. Player 1 name Frankie Rodriguez. And
Control save. Save?
Yeah, save.
Put in the extra tenders today.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
For this matchup.
Maverick.
No.
Just his bullshit. Oh, green white loam. That's what he called it. Save, and then name Jesse. Enter Adams. No I. Ah, sorry.
What are you clicking on things
I'm
for?
trying to help you.
But I can type. Jesse Adams.
Files.
Wait, no. There you go.
Save. Then round number 4.
Save.
Then match. Save. And all that is just in that file. And
Okay.
what I do, I
Just
open
minimize it.
Chrome and then that.
Okay.
Here's the deck list and here's the deck list.
How many people are watching? Like 2?
18 right now.
Yeah, 18.
We do have people that like watch the clock and come in and out. So
Okay.
I bet people will join in.
Okay. Where's Jim?
Where did the picture camera go?
I didn't touch it.
It's over there.
How did you do?
I played Storm round 1 and Burn round 2.
Fun.
Yeah.
I could use $25.
That was right out the door. I played good. I felt like I played well. I just need, obviously, to win those matchups, you need to play. You need to run hot or do anything for.
Yeah.
So.
Stoneblade feels like that sometimes. Kind of, I just get these matchups, and you're like, well, my hand is like true name, click
Yeah.
Snapcaster, and 4 lands, and you're just like, oh, I don't have any interaction. That's what
Yeah,
happened.
no,
That's what kept
it's a
happening
thing.
to me.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Who are these people?
Are you going to play?
I dropped.
Oh, you dropped.
I'm gonna play in the next one. Like, sorry.
Okay, Jim. What is up, Anthony? Round 4, we have Jesse Adams on green white Chalice Maverick.
Can you click on that?
Yes, I can.
And then adjust the time to be 3:51. And then start. Cool.
Hey, Joe.
Okay, round started. We have Jesse Adams on green white Chalice Homebrew Aggro Loam.
Okay, so like Maverick sort of loam?
Like, you couldn't decide if you wanted to play Maverick or Aggro Loam,
Oh,
so you
okay.
just picked the best cards out of both of them. And your name is Jesse Adams, who actually has a Knight of the Reliquary tattooed on his forearm.
That's dedication though.
That is dedication. Spicy cards. He has 2 Randomap Excavators, 1 Terravore,
Ooh.
1 Sylvan Safekeeper, 4 Knight of the Reliquaries, and in his land package, he does have the Dark Depth stage combo, in addition to the usual Caracas, Ghost Quarter, Bog.
Okay. So how does that line up against his opponent?
Frankie, do we have Frankie's?
Yeah, we got Frankie's list. Frankie is running, looks like standard version of Miracles. 1 back to basics in the main, Monastery Mentors, Accumulated Knowledges. Oh, he is running a 1 of Mission Briefing in the main deck, so that's kind of spicy.
So that's Snapcaster number 4, but doesn't have a body.
I mean, is he running 4 Snap? No, he's only running 3 Snapcaster, so it's 3 Snapcaster and 1 Mission Briefing.
Relevant cards in his list are going to be the Back to Basics, the Swords to Plowshares, obviously, and he does have the Council's Judgment if the Chalice of the Void stick.
Okay, so let's see. We got turn 1.
Turn 1 from Frankie was Land Pass.
We have Mox Diamond into Chalice on 1. Okay. So Chalice is on the stack. Let's see what Frankie has in his opening hand.
Imagine some sort of brainstorm.
Yep, brainstorm.
As most of us know, Frankie does not want this card to resolve. We see the Force of Will.
Oh, he has back to basics in his hand. But it's not well positioned into the Mox Diamond basic planes draw that Jesse seems to have.
There is the Force of Will.
Force pitch Flusterstorm.
Frankie's turn. Land pass. Jesse comes back with the Ghost Quarter. Cracks his Windswept Heath. So he is officially playing around back to basics.
Yep, he is respecting the back to basics here. Oh wow, Sylvan Library is going to be really good for Jesse if this resolves. And it looks like it sticks.
Couldn't find it.
Oh, Thalia too. Okay.
Sylvan Library into Thalia.
So we got Swords to Plowshares on the end step.
Sylvan Library is probably the second best card the random green aggro player wants to see against Miracles after the Chalice of the Void. And then he chokes after the board.
So it does look like Jesse is keeping track of how many lands are in his graveyard with the dice on top of the Windswept Heath. Obviously, Knight of the Reliquary and Terravor count those, so... And I don't imagine the back to basics is going to get any better. Might just want to slam it while his opponent is tapped out.
Officially cutting him off of 1 mana.
Yeah, but it's also effectively cutting his Ghost Quarter off, so he can't like tie down his white mana sources.
Well, we haven't seen the Life from Loam yet, but we do know he plays 0 of them, but he does play 2 Excavators.
Okay, there you go. There's the back to basics. Sylvan Library.
So with Jesse's deck, he has 1 more basic forest, so he will be on 3 to 4 mana for the rest of the game, which isn't the best place you want to be.
Green Sun for 3.
We'll get
Knight.
Knight of the Reliquary, I imagine. I mean, his options being Tireless Tracker, Knight of the Reliquary, he's running 2 Tireless Trackers, the Terravor. Terravor is going to be a 3-4-5-5 at this point.
Frankie's on 2 fetches.
Jesse has 3. Six.
I don't know how you feel about it, but I do think the Terravor is probably the incorrect get in this scenario. Like, he knows he's playing against a player that plays Snapcaster Mage. He knows he has a sideboard, a Swords to Plowshares in the sideboard. So, like, I don't think you're going to get a lot of value off of it in this scenario.
I mean, it's the fastest clock for sure, which he might need just based on he doesn't have any lands to sacrifice. Like Knight of the Reliquary, he can't sacrifice his forest and his plains. I would see Tireless Tracker potentially being the best card to get.
That's actually what I was thinking. I think Tireless Tracker is the card that I would get in that scenario because, like, you have to understand that, like, you know, Frankie's deck is made to deal with creatures, like, in every capacity. So, like, the Terravor, if you're imagining that the Terravor is going to go longer than 1 turn, just getting in chip damage is not necessarily the best thing you can do. I would say getting, like, the Tireless Tracker for, like, in this instance, would be 2 clues off the fetch land.
Which would be draw 2 cards, which really plays into the Sylvan Library.
Yeah.
lets you clear whatever cards you've been floating on top that you don't want to see.
Yeah.
But with the fetch line, he's shuffling it away anyway. So that is the last basic from Jesse.
We got accumulated knowledge for 1. And there's the terminus. So yeah, that's exactly what I was mentioning before. Like in this instance, Jesse would have been able to
Draw 2 cards after this.
hedge 2 cards. Yeah, like I think in the Miracles matchup, like you're green, like you're the grindy deck. Like you need to grind. Like, and I don't think playing the Terravore there was necessarily correct.
Well, a popular play from all of these random green aggro decks is just to run higher threat density. So it's not necessarily that the Terravore ending the turn right now. It's the Tireless Tracker drawing into the next 1 or 2 threats after the Tireless Tracker gets answered.
Yeah.
I mean, a Tireless Tracker on an empty board has just as much chance to steal the game as anything else.
We got a Monastery Mentors from Frankie, so it does look like he believes that he's turned the corner effectively at this point, so he's going to try to pressure Jesse and try to get this game over with quickly.
Before the Sylvan Library takes over. Jesse hasn't paid any life. Which, do you agree with in the Miracles green-white matchup?
Well, it does look like he did take the first...
So he just took the first 4 right now.
He just took the first 4. It looks like he's attempting to dismember for full life points at this point, which, I mean, I'm under the impression that maybe he has a follow-up 3-drop like a Knight of the Reliquary or a Tireless Tracker.
There's the Knight of the Reliquary.
There's the Knight of the Reliquary. Okay, so this line makes a lot of sense. And, okay, so there's the Dark Depths.
So now we know the Knight is threatening itself just ending the game. It's also threatening fetching up the Thespian stage.
It is, yeah, but it's also it's representing a 2-turn clock on itself, which in just the playability of the Miracles deck is like, we know that Frankie has at least swords in the yard, so that means every Snapcaster Mage answers the Dark Depths combo. It means that if he draws Mission Briefing, if he draws another swords or Terminus, like I'd say Frankie is pretty far ahead in this scenario. Like obviously the Sylvan Library is doing work, but at the same time you have to understand that like Jesse's cards don't get any better the more that he has.
I mean, how many cards does Frankie have in his hand though? 2, 3?
He has 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he's holding the Snapcaster.
Yeah, I don't think he's that far ahead, especially with the Sylvan Library. I think if Jesse can just keep threats going, and Knight of the Reliquary into Dark Depths keeps multiple threats on the board, that's the same idea that we had with the Tireless Tracker.
Yeah.
It's just eventually he's not going to be able to Snapcaster things.
So there's the Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah.
So he's understanding, we're going to go for the swords.
Like, you can't let him have 2 threats to end the game in 2 attacks.
So life totals are pretty even. Oh, it looks like, oh wow, that was the last card in his deck, so in his hand, so Frankie's hellbent at this point.
With Jesse going. And this is what Sylvan Library does. It just lets you play very live cards repeatedly.
So there's the Green Sun Zenith.
Which should be for another Knight of the Reliquary at this point.
Yep, I agree with that. Oh wow, second Terravore. Oh no, because the Terravore was underneath the Terminus, so we went for the Terravore line again. Which I still don't agree with. I think that I understand he's threatening a 2-turn clock, but I just think like when your Miracles opponent is hellbent, you want to have the most
options.
Yeah, the most options, the most unanswerable threats. Like playing a big thing that just dies to swords, to Terminus, to Council Judgment, Jace Bounce. Like these are all scenarios that Frankie's top of the deck is really live for.
I think just getting 2 threats on the board is...
Well, yeah, because the Knight of the Reliquary threatens the Dark Depth combo, so that in itself is 2 threats.
Frankie doesn't seem too happy about this, though. I mean, playing Hellbent, he hasn't drawn any of his blue card advantage engines.
Yeah, I mean, really what he needs to kind of turn the corner is to get a Jace, to get the second accumulated knowledge will start that chain. See, Jesse's tapping 4. Oh, wow. Another Green Sun Zenith.
Well, this should just be the Green Sun Zenith for the Sylvan Safekeeper.
Hardcast Force Will.
Yeah, Hardcast Force Will. I mean, I can only imagine that was for... I mean, they're all so bad, but Sylvan Safekeeper would have been backbreaking. Gaddock Teague would have stopped any Terminus shenanigans. Scavenging Ooze would have stopped any Snapcaster Mage mission briefing work.
Okay, so let's see. We got some card selection from Frankie. Still digging off the top of the library. It does look like there's a choice. There's a
Brainstorm.
Accumulated knowledge.
Didn't look like any white cards though, and white cards need to make an appearance.
So what do you think about this scenario? Do you think you top the accumulated knowledge and bottom the brainstorm, draw it, try to find the swords? Like, because what I think here in this scenario is like you're also live to a Terminus, so I would just probably pass here with the brainstorm because it makes the Terminus draw live. Okay, so
there's the Council's Judgment.
He found the Council's Judgment. He does have the 2 white, so we continue to play on.
This is another scenario where the Knight of the Reliquary ends the game next turn no matter what. He didn't need to attack. He just sacrifices a land, goes and gets the Thespian stage. And now this Council's Judgment doesn't work.
Yeah, so now his future Green Sun Zeniths are not going to have that punch that the Terrorboard does seem to get. But I do like... I like him threatening his life total a little bit with the Snapcaster Mage because you don't want to see Jesse take 2 cards, 3 cards off the Sylvan Library and just like...
Ooh, Jesse takes a land, so he should be start shuffling away the top of his library. I can't see any real reasons to why he needs anything. And this is accumulated knowledge for 2 from Frankie.
Okay, that was a good draw.
He knew that was there. It was Island and
Flooded Strand, so not the best cards from Frankie, but chug on here.
There's the fetch. He's taking counters off Dark Depths. He's going to get there 3 mana at a time, 10 turns from now.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I marked the light color. That's why I messed up. I marked the light color off the wrong.
Knight of the Reliquary, Savannah, and I didn't see a 3rd card. So that's the Knight of the Reliquary we've been calling for 3-4 turns.
Yep. I do think here that Jesse has to acknowledge the clock that Snapcaster Mage is representing, even though, you know, his cards are more haymaker. Like, you don't want to get into a position where you're like taking 4, playing 1 Knight of the Reliquary, and then getting Swords Terminus or, you know, Snap, Council Judgment, things like that.
So he kept 4. He played the Knight of the Reliquary, and what is the last card? I mean,
we know the other one was a Savannah, so we don't know what the last card is.
You can only imagine he has 0 white cards in his main deck.
Oh, it was a Mazavith.
It was a Mazaveth.
Okay, so that effectively stops the...
Well, and that also doubles the Knight of the Reliquary activations.
It does, but the thing is...
well, because now he can attack.
He's under back to basics,
and
so.
Still get the 20/20. That's what it does.
Yep.
So he forces the block and has 2 attackers next turn. So Frankie once again has to kill the Knight of the Reliquary on the board. The large, hopefully unanswerable threat from Jesse.
2 mana. 2 blue mana.
I don't see what the last card is. We know it's
Oh.
It's 1 Flooded Strand.
Is it the mission briefing?
I can't see what it is.
Frankie's cards are all foil, so we're having a little bit of a glare issue here. Oh, so it was Snapcaster Mage.
It was a Snapcaster Mage.
So it was Mazavith. But, okay, so he's at 4, and now double Snapcaster Mage, but the Mazavith doesn't untap from the back to basics. So
Oh, that was such a good draw.
what did we see?
No, from Frankie. So he can't pay 4.
Yep.
He scoops him up.
Game 2.
So that was game 1 for Frankie and Miracles.
All right. Let's take a look at the sideboard.
Oops. So this is There we go. Do you see anything in the sideboard of Frankie that he would want to bring into this matchup? The green-white creatures.
Let's see. So I definitely like the second Back to Basics. I think that the second Monastery Mentor also has some value. Pithing Needle and Surgical Extraction are pretty live. Celestial Purge is an interesting one because even though it's only a one of the combo from Jesse, Frankie has no way to know that. So the Celestial Purge might be the white answer that's not Swords to Plowshares for Merit Lage token. I think that you might see, but ultimately I think Frankie's deck is just really well positioned, so he might not go down too many cards to fit in these narrow sideboard cards. I think he wants more just wide sweeping answers, so I think like the Back to Basics, you'll see the second Monastery Mentor, you'll probably see the Vendilion Cleaves because Jesse doesn't have any really instant speed. I'm going to do this at instant speed to kind of to trip you up.
So from Jesse, we do in the sideboard, we do see an Oblivion Ring, 1 Choke, 2 Council Judgments you might want to bring in for a Jace. There's a Knight of Autumn just to increase threat density and kill anything that comes in from Frankie, like the Back to Basics again, which can be backbreaking if you don't get your three or four or basic lands. Other than that, maybe he brings in the Surgical Extraction to take on to try and overwhelm the Swords to Plowshares. I mean, if he hits a Surgical Extraction on a Swords to Plowshares, there's not much that Frankie will be able to do. I know.
So, I think the Surgical Extraction in this matchup has a little bit more of a fringe playability. Like there are some cards in Jesse's main deck that are not necessarily good. Like you're probably not going to want to keep the Dismembers. You're probably not going to want to keep like
the Roundabout Excavators aren't very good.
Yeah, they're not. So you might see him hedge a little bit and bring in something like Surgical Extraction because, as we know, Miracles really operates on like a top of the library is very important to the Miracles player. Even though it is only Terminus, but like setting up a Brainstorm, setting up a Ponder, like these are all things that like the Miracles deck does really well. So like Surgical to deck manipulate your opponent is actually like a very good line to take.
And then to adjust chat, style points for Jesse for best jank. This is what Jesse Adams does. He is a solo, monotonous Knight of the Reliquary green-white aggro player in Legacy. He's tried countless iterations of the Maverick style. I don't think he physically can play black cards.
Well, I mean, he has the Dismembers in the main deck. I know we're cheating on the black cards, but yeah.
I don't know if Phyrexian black mana versus regular black mana.
The border of the card is black.
I guess the border of the card is black.
The card itself is black.
They get a pass. It's like the...
Could not cast it with Iona on the field. That is... I think that's the definitive answer to if it is a black card or not.
Okay, we're 30 minutes in. They're shuffling up. Jesse Adams should have the play.
Okay, so it does look like we have a keep from Jesse. Let's see what Frankie wants. He has a couple fetch lands, I see. At least the
a
Council's
Jace.
Judgment, a Jace, and an Accumulated Knowledge.
Counterspell.
Yep. Okay. Sylvan Safekeeper on 1 from Jesse. It sounds like Anthony in blue cards, the chat says. I think that is... I do think that that's also accurate.
I own blue cards.
Yeah, they're for me to play. 2 mana into Sylvan Library. Okay.
I mean, that once again is just a terrible card for Frankie to try and beat. It just puts him behind.
But we do know that Frankie has the Council's Judgment, so at a minimum, we do have an answer if it starts getting to be out of hand. But what we see from Frankie here is double fetch land. He's going to be holding up the Counterspell or the Accumulated Knowledge, depending on what Jesse threatens this.
You got it?
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Pride Mage from Frank.
We got talked to.
So swinging Exalted trigger. Zali Pride Mage is good here because it does mean that Back to Basics is answerable as the board kind of develops here.
I mean, Kasali Pride Mage is good here because it's a trash creature that now has the board. The board needs to be respected. Attacking for 3 every turn is going to be a lot more than attacking for 1. I mean, he's on a 5-turn clock, and you can see that our Swords to Plowshares are not viable with the Sylvan Safekeeper in play.
Yeah, we're going to see an accumulated knowledge here from Frankie for 1. Just start the card draw engine from the Miracles deck, and that's what you can expect. Early setup is not something. Frankie's not going to be doing any. He's not going to be throwing any haymakers. We do see that he did draw the Back to Basics, which has to be a little bit frustrating in terms of looking at that Kasali Pride Mage in the face.
I mean, Back to Basics can be good. I mean, it can be game-winning in the right draws against these green decks, but Mox Diamonds, he's running 3 basics, he's running a ton of fetch lands, plus removal for the Back to Basics. It's not really the best card you want in the matchup.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see the Council's Judgment on the Sylvan Library here.
We haven't seen anything yet. Jesse has 3 cards in his hand, so Council Judgment on Sylvan Library is live. Council Judgment, let's see what they're voting for.
Because the interesting thing here is, even though he does have Sylvan Safekeeper, the Council's Judgment doesn't target. So Kasali Pride Mage, if Frankie did fear that card, we could have seen him go after that, but it does look like Frankie's not really concerned so much with the Back to Basics now that, especially in the eyes of Jesse having green and white mana that are unhampered by the Back to Basics. So might not be that much of a...
I mean, in this situation, the Back to Basics still doesn't actually do anything. It time walks, and he's still taking 3 a turn.
Yes.
It only taps the 1 Caracas. Land from Jesse.
2 mana. Doesn't look like a Scavenging Ooze. Okay, we got another Knight.
So Knight of the Reliquary, number 1.
So
something I did notice in these green matchups versus Miracles, the matchup is extremely favorable if the Miracles player can resolve the first Terminus. In this instance, I can imagine that's all Frankly's really looking for. I mean, the first Terminus, and he has a handful of cards.
It does look like, I think I see a Terminus in his hand, if I'm not mistaken. It does look like there's a Terminus in his hand. So, if we do, okay, we're going with the Jace, which I like. I think what you'll see here is probably a Brainstorm to set the Terminus. Because Jesse's not doing anything that stops him from Terminusing. So, yeah, we're going to see the Brainstorm. He's got the Force of Will for the next threat. Yeah, and oh wow, that was really good. So you see, his Brainstorm off the Jace was Brainstorm, Swords to Plowshares, Force of Will, and like I said, I believe that he's holding Terminus.
That's the Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, the Terminus was in this pile of cards in his hand. So you'll see Frankie untap with Terminus this turn, which does allow Jesse to get 1 activation of the Knight of the Reliquary should he choose, but what I think is going to happen is Frankie's so low on life total, I think that you'll actually see an alpha from Jesse just to put him on a 2-turn clock and say, do you have the Terminus or do you not have the Terminus? So Council's Judgment on the Jace, okay.
So then this should be the Alpha Strike. If he's Council's Judgment the Jace, because if you weren't Alpha Striking, then you would attack the Jace.
Yeah, so we're gonna probably, like I said, we're probably gonna see the Alpha Strike here.
Yes, no. Yes, maybe.
Just thinking about it.
I feel like if you Council Judgment the Jace, then you are Alpha Striking. If you are not Council Judgmenting the Jace, then you just kill the Jace with your creatures.
Yeah, because there's no way. Okay, this is an odd line. Like, you're basically giving Frankie you're saying, okay, you have 2 more turns no matter what.
There's the Terminus.
So there's the Terminus, and let's see the Knight of the Reliquary activation. What do you get here from Jesse? Because I have to imagine you get some kind of non-basic land, which at that point you're getting the non-basic land to do something.
I mean, the Horizon Canopy would be good. A Bajuka Bog would be... I guess he hasn't cast any Swords to Plowshares yet. The Dark Depths or Thespian Stage is a strong option.
Yeah.
But now he's kind of playing into that back to basics that we know exists.
I actually, to be honest with you, I think we see Frankie, now that it's an empty board, I think that we see a slam back to basics here and just say, okay, I know that you don't have more than these threats in play. This is the turn that I can afford to basically time walk myself.
Yeah, then we know he has Swords to Plowshare in his hand, so even going, if he has the land...
He has a land and he has Force Blue card as well, so I think we'll see the land, I think we'll just see the back to basics and then pass.
Yeah, and the back to basics stops the Thespian Stage from ever tapping because you want it for the Dark Depths opportunity.
Okay, so there's the back to basics. Crocus is now out of the game.
So he's playing off 2 mana now.
We have the Scavenging Ooze. So the interesting thing about where we're playing from right now is that Scavenging Ooze is not threatening to be more than a 2/2 because all of the creatures are on the bottom of Jesse's deck. So Scooze is not going to really get out of control. No, he can copy a basic with the stage, but what happens is it's a copy of the basic land that's still a non-basic land, so it won't untap.
I don't think it does. I think it might work because you can't wasteland a copied.
It does work. It should work.
I think that does work.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's a basic land with that ability.
Yeah, he did. I think he just did it.
Yeah, so he just copied the forest.
We copied the planes. So we got
Council's,
the back.
Council's Judgment on the back of basics.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. My apologies.
So he's brainstorming.
As you can tell, I don't really play a lot of green cards, so.
That's a colorless card. It's a land.
Yeah, but it
But it's
only
green.
goes into green decks.
There's the Force of Will on the Council's Judgment.
Yeah, so we got the. Still got a Brainstorm, still got a Containment Priest. Okay, so that's one of the ones that I thought Frankie might bring in, but I wasn't certain. It's just a threat. Once Frankie turns the corner, he needs to end
and
the
it
game
turns
quickly.
off
Turns out
Green Sun
Green Sun
Zenith.
too.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a threat that cuts Jesse's outs. So, no, I think I would say 12 posts is still probably a green deck that just happens to play blue cards. Here's a Dismember from Jesse. It's worth the hard cast Force of Will.
It's surprising that he kept that in, to be honest with you. I would think that you would want more impactful cards. I think the cards from Miracles that you're going to get Dismember are the Monastery Mentor, yeah, but if it makes a token, then it's already done what it needs to do. It's just a continuous stream of threats.
He has another one. Frankie's hand is filled with Swords to Plowshares.
I see 2 Swords to Plowshares,
And a Terminus.
and it looks like was the last card Snapcaster Mage?
I think it was.
Chalice on 1. Okay. Interesting.
Well, it stops the Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah.
But-
No. I'm saying it's really good. I think it's really good.
Well, he already has Snapcaster into Council's Judgment,
Yep.
which we'll see right here.
Yeah. There it is.
I mean, this is where Jesse really wants the Sylvan Library. Or to draw his second Sylvan Library. That would be the best case answer right here. He cracks the Horizon Canopy. Preordained, Frankie's just looking to end the game as fast as possible at this point. He's ahead. He doesn't want Jesse drawing runner, threat. He doesn't have a real clock, but he does have a clock. His hand still has a lot of answers in it. See, another back to basics. And here's more reasons why the Back to Basics isn't really that good of a card in this matchup.
Mox Diamond. But it does look like Jesse's playing a little bit off the top of his library. It's not really treating him well.
No, so Jesse can Ghost Quarter the Caracas to go get his last basic. He can, yeah, which looks like he's going to do. Frankie now has the ability to hard cast the Terminus in his hand to go along with the double Swords to Plowshares.
I don't believe that Jesse has another basic land in his deck.
2 Forest. Did he crop rotate it away?
No, he netted the Reliquary it away.
Yeah, netted the Reliquary. Yeah.
So we're gonna see if
That's what he's looking for right now. He did sacrifice the Forest, which we did bring up last game.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to leave the basic lands in the deck to go get, and you sacrifice the tapped Savannas. Yeah, that was the fail to find.
There's Knight of Autumn, and now we see that
He put the counters on Knight of
puts
Autumn.
counters on it to shut the Snapcaster Mage off. There's the Source of Plowshares.
Frankie's right on the life gain.
Yeah, shout out to Frankie for keeping the life totals clean, so we don't have to do any guessing. Yeah, he is a hell of a player. You got a Ponder from Frankie. Looked like Tundra and another Ponder, but we're not.
What are you actually looking for in this instance? Just something else to kill him with?
I mean, I think at this point you're looking for the Monastery Mentor. I think that you're looking for a Jace.
Jace to control the draws, Monastery Mentor to end the game next turn.
Yep.
I mean, with his hand, I'm not really sure
Thalia.
anything's a bad choice.
Yeah, Thalia's not going to really do what Jesse wants. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mentor or Cleek, yep. Either one of those would be fine.
Here's the Swords to Plowshares, goes back up to 12. Attendance was 57, 56.
I think we had 54 players enter in the tournament, so it was a 6-round event, which officially made it a 1K event for our first City Champs of the year, which is awesome. If you guys want to see any information about any of these tournaments, just please go to Arizona Eternal Magic or azeternalmagic.com. We'll be posting future events as well as dates and where the location of the tournaments are. It'll also list what the rules are for this series, where how the points are going to be accrued and what you can look forward to from future events from us.
Okay, Jim, real question. What does Jesse have to draw to get out of this?
So this is the point of the game where, as the Miracles player, this is why you play Miracles. You start to eliminate basically every card in the history of Magic as an available answer to what you're trying to do. So I actually don't think there's a legal card in this format.
Okay, channel your inner green player, which doesn't even exist.
Yeah, it
what
doesn't
cards
exist.
does Jesse have?
I literally don't think there's a card in this format that Jesse Adams can draw.
Oh,
from this
so we see
position.
Counterspell, Terminus, Force of Will. There's the Counterspell
Yeah.
on the Gaddock Teague. I mean, he doesn't have it, but a Thrun would be really good right now. What are the other?
Thrun just dies to Terminus, man.
Thrun does just die to Terminus.
Chalice on 1 on turn 75 of the game. Pretty good.
Gets.
Is that Disenchant?
I think it was just.
I think that's a Disenchant.
You need a Chalice on 1 that immediately goes into the graveyard. This Snapcaster Mage is still putting in work.
Yeah, most of the time with these games, because you're running so close to the chest on damage with your Swords to Plowshares, by the end of the game, Snapcaster pretty much does like 30 to 35 damage on a good day. Chalice into Dark Depths seems like it might get there. Well, yeah, but Chalice into Dark Depths also gets Terminus. It also gets... Yeah, not if Frankie has all the right answers. Yep.
Yeah, Frankie has a lot of cards. I mean, I think starting with resolving something, he still has the Counterspell. I think he still has. There's AK for 3, I believe.
I think it's 2.
I know he's already cast at least 2. 1, 2, 3. There, yeah, it's
wow.
AK for 3.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he has at least 1 Force of Will. He has 1 Swords to Plowshares. We still know about the tournaments. We know about a Brainstorm.
Yeah, Jesse not even tapping the top of the library. Writing's on the wall here. This should be the concession, I believe. Oh, that was a Jace. Yep.
No, I mean, with the cards in Frankie's hand, I think Laj gets Terminus. I think he has the double cantrip with the Brainstorm to do it on the opponent's turn. There's 2. Jace is going to be Fate Sealing at this point. Okay, now we might go into... There's not a card in the history of Magic
Yep.
that Jesse can draw, or that Frankie would let him. There's the Green Sun Zenith, there's the Counterspell. And we know Jesse doesn't want to lose this game, so he's going to make him attack for every point of damage.
And
There
there's
it
the
is.
concession.
Good game. We have Frankie Rodriguez 2-0 on Miracles, 2 over Jesse Adams on Green-White Chalice Loam. In
match.
round 4, Frankie moves to 4-0. Jesse moves to 3-1.
Yep. So tough match for the green-white opponent here. It does look like the Miracles player did pretty much standard Miracles things, and that's what you see from these blue control decks in this meta. So I think at this point we're too far into the round.
Urza's Rage with Kicker.
Yeah, only 5 mana and 1 red short.
I mean, he did have you, though. That is a card in the history of Magic that would have won him the game.
Yeah.
Just had to be able to cast it.
Yeah.
Isn't there any other uncountable 4 damage spells?
What's that new one from like M15 or Magic Origins? It's like the Spell Mastery, 3 mana.
Exquisite Firecraft.
Exquisite Firecraft. Shout out from the audience. Thank you very much. But again, we didn't have double red mana.
Oh, the double red gets you every time. No. So Simeon Spirit Guide. He had 1 Mox Diamond.
We should have Thespian staged the Mox Diamond.
Simeon Spirit Guide. Tap the Mox Diamond for red. Cast Exquisite Firecraft. Good game, Frankie.
Yeah.
Just didn't have it though.
Yeah. The top of his deck didn't treat him well, drawing cards that weren't in his 75 that he registered.
As they sideboard, I think we're going to go on a little break. The next round starts in 10 minutes, so we should see you in about 15.